So what's going on guys, Chris here with another guide to one of those Star Wars Battlefront Jabba contracts, and this time I'll be going over the X-8 Night Sniper that came out with the Bespin DLC. Although it's got sniper in the name, the X-8 is actually a blaster pistol, manufactured by Blastech Industries, which is normally used by smugglers. Though down to a computerized heat vision scope that's been fitted on the top right of the weapon, the gun can zoom in, allowing for better target acquisition and for spotting enemies in the distance in areas with low visibility. The Night Sniper also has a silent mode that can be operated when used, though this isn't activated when using the gun in Battlefront, just to keep everything nice and fair. But this function combined with that heat vision scope can allow the wielder better accuracy, vision and stealth when used in combat. The X-8 was wielded by Lando Calrissian in the Star Wars Rebels series, and first seen in the episode Idiot's Array, where he can be seen using the weapon to fight off henchmen on the planet Lothal, back in his smuggler days. Lando also uses the X-8 whenever you choose to be him as a hero in Battlefront also, though just like with the other heroes, this version is a bit more powerful and packs more of a punch, with the ability to kill in less shots. Now I'll go over how the weapon is to use and all of that sort of stuff a bit later on, but first let's talk about how to unlock the gun and gain that ability to equip it onto your loadout. So being a Bespin DLC weapon, you're going to have to buy the Bespin DLC, or own the Season Pass. This will then allow you to buy the Jabba contract, Lando's Hand, costing 3,500 of those in-game credits, and then you'll be issued another 3 assignments to go out and complete. The first task on the list is to get yourself 15 kills as Lando Calrissian. Now I'm going to be honest, this one can be a bit of a pain in the arse, as those heroes tokens don't pop up quite as often as you'd like them to sometimes. Plus you've also got to be playing on the rebel side in order to be able to choose him. One of the best ways to get this one done and dusted is to hop into a few heroes versus villains matches. And whenever you spawn in as the rebels, and it's your turn to be the hero, quickly click over to Lando, racing the other guys in the lobby, and go off and get some kills. It's easier said than done, as it might take a bit of grinding through these matches to eventually get there. But my advice is to concentrate your fire on the non-hero players in the match, as they're much easier to take out than the villains. Though you could always hop into Walker Assault, Supremacy or Sabotage matches, and look out for the hero token there. Though these aren't always straightforward to find, and you might have to be a bit patient. But whatever match you're in, whenever you're playing as Lando, just be extra careful not to die, as you don't always have much opportunity to be him. Pick other players off from afar, wait for other enemies to come to you if you have to, and never run into an area full of hostiles, especially if there's a possibility that a villain might be waiting there for you. As for the next task, you'll need to get 5,000 objective score in the game mode Sabotage. This one's pretty simple, but might require a bit of grinding. Keep on jumping into Sabotage matches and go for those objectives. You'll get more points for arming and defusing bombs, getting kills whilst defending the generators, capturing the objective point at the end of the round, and of course winning the match. It might take a good few matches to get the 5,000 points, but they all accumulate over rounds, so keep playing Sabotage and eventually you'll complete this requirement. The final assignment is to get 10 headshots with blaster pistols. Just equip any blaster pistol and aim for those heads. The SE-14C can be quite good at finishing off players with headshots, down to its vertical recoil pattern, bouncing your shots upwards and into your opponent's face. Though other faster firing pistols like the DL-18 are also good for doing the job too. Every headshot that you get will count towards this task. Take your time, obviously aim for the head, and if you're still having trouble, maybe even try playing defensively, picking players off from further away in the middle of battle. With all of these 3 ticks off the list, you'll then be issued with your very own X-8 Night Sniper. So onto the weapon itself. Generally, the gun deals a medium amount of damage combined with a reasonable rate of fire. Though its strongest aspect that sets it apart from the other blaster pistols, and to help warrant that sniper name, is its range, as the X-8 can maintain some fair damage over longer distances, without it being a victim to extreme damage drop-off. The cooling power of the gun is also decent too, as you can fire the weapon quite a few times, before it'll start to overheat. And this is pretty handy, as it'll still typically take around about 5 to 6 shots from the Night Sniper to land on your target to put them down. Although the gun is better suited than other pistols at range, it still lacks that stopping power of a sniper-like weapon, and down to its muzzle velocity not being all that fast, you're still going to have to lead your targets at distance, as you're still going to need to allow for travel time of your shot flying through the air before it reaches its destination. This means that it can be a little bit tricky to land shots at those super long distances, and you might have to aim in front of your enemy if they're running in order to hit them. Though it's still effective at range if you can land those targets, especially with the added bonus of those zoom optics, though it might not be as useful as you might think. Up close, the X-8 can quite often leave you vulnerable down to that slower fire rate. It's not terribly slow, and it does feel a bit quicker than the likes of the DL-44, But because the damage isn't exactly all that high, it probably won't be enough to outgun a lot of other weapons in the game. And for those reasons, the X-8 is better suited for mid to long range engagements. Now, an interesting feature that the Night Sniper has built into it is the addition of that thermal optics, as the sight is capable of revealing other players in hot white whenever aimed down sights. This heat vision essentially gives you a better advantage on those darker maps and areas, such as Twilight on Hoth. Plus it also makes it much easier to actually spot other players in the environment too, and this is really useful on the Endor maps where hostiles can often be hidden amongst all the trees and foliage. The thermal sights aren't quite as useful on the brighter maps like on Outpost Beta, and ironically the outdoor Bespin maps, as the light exteriors make it visually harder to spot players, rendering the optics unnecessary. And so this might be a big factor to keep in mind when choosing whether to use the gun, as it performs better on some specific maps rather than on others. When picking star cards, you could go for some of the ones that cater for close range engagements like the scattergun or the scout pistol, as these are going to help with anyone who gets too close, with the Night Sniper being fairly weak in CQC. Though you could also add on some smoke grenades, as the thermal optics will allow you to see better through the smoke, and gun down other players without them spotting you. Targets aren't 100% clear through smoke, but they're much easier to see with the heat vision than with other standard weapons. So generally, the X-8 Night Sniper is better suited for taking on other players at medium ranges, though it can still be effective at long range, providing you can trace your enemies and stay on target. It doesn't exactly deal a load of damage, and it might seem a bit weak in some firefights, though the added advantage of being able to spot other players easily on darker maps with lots of cover with that thermal sight can give you the edge over other blasters. It's good for picking people off in the distance and providing supportive fire for your team. Just don't expect it to destroy your enemies, or perform brilliantly in CQC. So that's basically it for this one guys, hope you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to see plenty more on Battlefront and loads of other games too. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.